The desert stretched as far as the eyes could see. Endless dunes rolled under a pale yellow sky, glowing like gold under the distant sun. The wind carried grains of sand that whispered against the metal surface of the research ship standing on the ground. For most travelers, this barren world would look like nothing more than dust and silence. But for the human research team that had landed here, it was a place of mystery. Mira, the leader of the team, stood at the edge of a dune and looked far into the horizon. She was not the type to dream easily, but something about this place stirred her heart. She could feel that history was hiding under the sand. Her team had picked up strange readings from orbit, signs of old structures buried deep below the surface. Now that they had landed, Myra wanted to see the truth with her own eyes. Daniel, the team's engineer, adjusted his scanner and shook his head. The signal is strong. Whatever is down there is huge, bigger than any ruins we have seen before. His voice carried both excitement and worry. Another member, Lena, who was skilled with ancient languages, bent down and touched the sand. She whispered, "This desert feels alive," as if it remembers something. The team gathered their tools and began the long walk across the dunes. The sun burned above them, and the sand shifted under their boots, but they kept going. Hours passed until finally Myra saw something that stopped her steps. Rising from the desert floor was a massive stone edge, sharp and clear, not shaped by nature, but by hands of builders long gone. They cleared more of the sand, and slowly the shape revealed itself. It was a giant wall, carved with strange designs. The lines looked familiar yet alien, like a mirror of Earth's oldest pyramids. Mira ran her hand across the stone and felt the deep marks that time could not erase. "This looks like Earth," Daniel said in awe. "But it is not possible. These ruins are on another planet." Lena studied the carvings carefully. "Look here. These are human figures, and next to them are tall beings with different shapes. They are not human, but they stand together, as if they were allies." The discovery sent a shiver through everyone. The chamber was not just a ruin. It was a message written in stone, a reminder of a connection between Earth's past and something far beyond the sky. The team searched for an entrance, and after hours of effort, they found a massive doorway half buried under sand. The door was carved with symbols of suns, stars, and rivers. With a push of their combined strength, the stone door slowly opened. A rush of cold air escaped, as if the chamber had been waiting for thousands of years to breathe again. Inside, the air was still and heavy. Torches that had long turned to dust lined the walls. The humans stepped carefully with their lamps, and the glow revealed a vast hall. The ceiling was high, shaped like a pyramid turned upside down. On each side stood statues, giant figures wearing crowns like pharaohs of old. But instead of holding scepters or staffs, they held objects that looked like alien tools, shining faintly even after ages of silence. The team walked between the statues in awe. Their faces were calm but stern, their stone eyes glowing faintly, as if watching the visitors. No one spoke for a long time. The silence was so deep, pressed on their ears. It was not the silence of emptiness. It was the silence of something waiting. Myra's heart pounded as she looked around. "This is not a tomb," she whispered. "This is something more." Daniel checked his scanner again. The readings were strong inside the chamber, a pulsing signal hidden under the stone floor. It beat like a slow heart, steady and ancient. "This place is alive in some way," he said quietly. Lena pointed to the carvings on the walls. They showed scenes of humans standing beside alien figures, building cities together, watching the stars, and sending ships into the sky. Some carvings even showed pyramids rising on distant worlds, linked by beams of light. The discovery left the team speechless. Humanity had always believed its pyramids were wonders of Earth alone, but here stood proof that they were part of something greater. This chamber connected human history to the stars. The statues stood silent, yet the humans could not shake the feeling that they were being judged. Each step echoed loudly as if the walls were listening. Myra lifted her lamp higher and looked. At the far end of the hall, a single massive door stood there, sealed tight, with carvings of eyes that seemed to glow in the flickering light. She turned to her team. This chamber holds secrets that were never meant to be lost. We must see what lies beyond. The desert outside was empty and quiet, but inside the ruins, the air was heavy with hidden power. The team knew they had crossed a line. What they found next would change how humanity saw itself forever. Myra took a deep breath and stepped toward the sealed door, the silent pharaohs watching every move as guardians of a forgotten truth. The sealed door stood like a wall of stone, massive and unmoving. Strange carvings of eyes and suns covered its surface. Myra raised her lamp, and the shadows danced across the giant patterns. Her team gathered around, their voices low, as if afraid to disturb the silence. Daniel placed his scanner against the door. The device hummed and flashed, then gave a result that made him frown. This stone is thick, too thick for us to break or cut. But there's energy behind it. Something is alive on the other side. Lena stepped closer and traced her fingers along one of the carved eyes. These eyes follow us, she whispered. They are not just designs. They are warnings. The air inside the chamber was heavy, pressing against their skin. Every step they took echoed too loudly. The statues lined along the walls stood tall and still, their faces calm yet cold. They wore crowns like ancient kings, but instead of holding staffs of power, they clutched tools shaped like strange crystals and metallic devices. Even after ages, the tools glowed faintly, as if feeding from the air itself. Myra studied them carefully. Their posture was upright, almost alive. She felt as if at any moment they might step down from their platforms and move. She turned to her team. Stay sharp. These statues are more than stone. I can feel it. Daniel gave a small laugh, though his voice was shaky. Statues don't move. They're just stone. But Lena shook her head. Look at their eyes. Do you see it? There is light inside. They are watching us. The group fell silent. The glow in the statue's eyes was faint, almost invisible. But when the humans moved, the eyes seemed to follow. Myra felt a chill run down her spine. She forced herself to stay calm. We came here for answers. If these are guardians, then maybe they judge who is worthy to pass. Daniel returned to his scanner, pointing it toward the floor. The energy comes from below. Something beneath this chamber is alive. I think these statues are connected to it. The silence pressed harder. The sound of their own breathing filled the hall. The humans felt smaller and smaller under the gaze of the giant Pharaohs. Lena walked to one of the walls and held her lamp close to the carvings. The images showed humans kneeling before tall figures with crowns, while beams of light connected the two. They wanted humans to remember them, she said softly. But why build this here, so far from Earth? Myra answered without turning her head. Because they wanted us to find it when the time was right. Maybe they left this place as a test. At that moment, a low vibration moved through the floor. The sand that had blown inside the chamber shifted slightly. The lamps flickered. The statues did not move, yet their glow brightened just enough to make the humans feel the weight of their gaze. Daniel's voice was tense. The energy is rising. It is reacting to us. Myra stepped forward, standing tall in the middle of the hall. We came here to learn. We do not come as enemies. If these statues are guardians, then let them see that we stand together. The vibrations grew stronger, then slowed again, like a heartbeat calming down. The lamp steadied, and the faint glow in the statues' eyes dimmed back to their usual quiet shimmer. The silence returned, but now it felt different. Less heavy, as if the chamber had listened and then decided to wait. The team let out the breaths they had been holding. Lena placed a hand on her chest and whispered, "They are truly watching us." Myra walked slowly toward the sealed door. She placed her palm against the cold stone. For a moment, she thought she felt a pulse, like the slow beat of a sleeping heart. She turned to her team. "This door will not open by force. It will open when we prove something to it. The Guardians will decide if we are worthy." Daniel checked his scanner again. The readings were steady now, but the signal was still strong behind the door. Whatever is back there, it is not dead. It is waiting. The team moved back to the center of the hall and set up their equipment. They placed lights around the chamber to push away the shadows. Their scanners, translators, and recorders filled the air with faint hums. Yet the statues remained silent, their glowing eyes never leaving the human's dot as hours passed. The team began to feel the weight of the place even more. No matter how hard they worked, they could not escape the sense that they were intruders standing before kings who had never truly died. The silence was not empty. It was filled with patience, as if the Pharaohs could wait 1,000 years more if needed. Myra sat down against the base of one statue, her lamp at her side. She looked up at the giant face carved in stone. "You have waited so long," she said quietly, "but humanity has come. We are here now. We will not turn away." Her words echoed through the chamber. The team listened in silence, feeling that perhaps the statues listened too. Somewhere deep within the stone walls, the pulse of energy stirred again, slower this time. Almost like an answer, the humans stayed close together that night, sleeping lightly under the watch of the silent pharaohs. None of them admitted it, but each one felt the same thing. The statues were not only guardians of the chamber. They were judges, and the humans had just taken the first step in a trial far greater than they could yet understand. Morning came slowly inside the chamber. The sun outside could not pierce the thick stone walls, so only the lamps of the humans gave light. Mira was the first to rise. She checked her team, still resting in their small sleeping bags, then looked up at the rows of statues, watching them with their silent eyes. The chamber seemed unchanged, yet she felt that the night had stirred something deep within the stone. Daniel soon joined her, rubbing his eyes. He carried his scanner and pointed it at the ground again. The screen glowed with the same steady pulse he had measured the day before. "The signal is still here," he said. "Stronger now. Almost like it's calling to us." Myra nodded. "Then we follow it. If the statues are guardians, this signal may be the key they want us to find." The team gathered and ate a quick meal, though none of them had much appetite. Their eyes kept wandering back to the glowing pharaohs. After packing their gear, they focused their work on the sealed door. Daniel set up small drones to fly close to the carvings, taking scans of the lines and symbols. The machines buzzed softly through the air, recording every detail. Lena stood by, her eyes following the carvings as if she were reading an ancient book. She traced the shapes on her tablet, then whispered, "This is not only art. These are instructions." Myra turned to her. "Instructions for what?" Lena studied harder. "It looks like a story. A group of humans meeting tall figures with crowns. The tall ones hold glowing tools, and they give something to the humans. A beam of light flows into their hands, and then the humans are shown standing stronger, taller. After that, the humans are walking through a doorway, while the tall figures stand aside." Daniel looked up from his scanner. "A doorway, like this one?" Lena nodded. "Yes, it means the door will open only when we answer their gift. We must find what they gave long ago." The team fell silent. The statue's glowing eyes seemed brighter, as if waiting for their realization. Mira walked closer to the carvings and touched the lines of the beam. The stone was cold, but she felt a faint vibration beneath it. Suddenly, Daniel's scanner beeped loudly. He turned it to the wall and gasped. The signal is not only under the floor, it is in the walls too. There is a network of energy flowing all around us. Myra frowned. Then this whole chamber is alive. Every stone, every carving, every statue is part of a system. The team placed more scanners around the hall. Soon, the devices drew a map of the energy flow. All lines of power joined together at a single point, the center of the sealed door. Of course, Daniel said. The door is the heart of it all. The energy wants to move through it, but something blocks the way. Lena leaned closer to the glowing map. Maybe it waits for a voice, a key that only humans can give. Mira made a decision. We use the translator. The translator was a device they had brought from Earth, built to study and decode alien signals. They set it near the door, connecting it to the scanners. The machine whirred, picking up the strange pulses and turning them into patterns of sound. At first it was only noise, but slowly, as the translator worked, the noise shaped into words. A deep voice filled the hall. It was heavy and slow, as if spoken from the stones themselves. Children of the builders, you have come at last. The humans froze. The statues glowed brighter, their eyes shining with cold fire. Lena placed her hands over her mouth in shock. Daniel looked at his scanner, almost unable to believe the readings. Mira stood tall, her face pale but steady. The voice continued. The path was hidden for ages. The stars kept the secret. Now you stand in the chamber of the silent Pharaohs. You are heirs of the builders. Prove you remember. The last words echoed like thunder, then faded into silence. The humans looked at one another. Daniel's voice was barely a whisper. It knows us. It knows humans. Lena shook her head in wonder. Heirs of the builders. Could it mean our ancestors walked with them? Mara kept her eyes on the sealed door. The energy now pulsed faster, like a drumbeat. The statues stood unmoving, yet their glow seemed alive. It means, Myra said firmly, that humanity was never alone. Our history is larger than we thought. The translator picked up another faint signal, softer this time. It shaped into words again. Walk with unity. Walk with courage. Walk with wisdom. The door will open when the heirs remember these truths. Then the chamber fell quiet again. The glow of the statues dimmed back to a faint shimmer, but the humans knew the trial had begun. Mira turned to her team. Unity, courage, wisdom. These are the keys. If we show them, the door will open. Daniel asked. But how? Do we face tests? Do we act as one? Lena looked back at the carvings. Perhaps the chamber itself will test us. We must be ready. The pulse under the floor grew stronger, like a heartbeat waiting to rise. The humans gathered their tools and prepared. The sealed door stood tall before them, no longer just stone but a gate into something greater. The silent Pharaohs kept watch, their glowing eyes following the humans. The chamber had spoken. Humanity had been called to prove itself. The sealed door stood like a wall of silence, its carvings glowing faintly as the hidden energy pulsed stronger. The words from the translator still echoed in the minds of the humans. Unity, courage, wisdom. These were the keys. Yet the chamber had not explained how to use them. It had only spoken and then fallen quiet again. Myra placed her palm on the cold stone. This is a test, she said. We must face it together. The chamber wants to see what kind of people we are. Daniel nodded, though his face was tense. But what form will the test take? We are standing in a hall of stone. How does it plan to judge us? Before Myra could answer, the ground beneath their feet trembled. The carvings on the walls lit up like rivers of fire, lines of glowing symbols flowing across the stone. The air grew heavy, almost thick, as if the chamber itself had awakened. The sealed door groaned and began to shift. It did not open fully, but cracked just enough for a beam of white light to burst into the hall. The light spread across the floor and shaped itself into a long passage leading deeper underground. Myra stepped forward first. This is the trial. It waits for us down there. The team gathered their lamps and gear, though the glowing passage was already bright enough to guide them. Together, they walked into the narrow path, the silent Pharaohs standing behind them like watchful kings. The air grew cooler as they moved deeper, and the walls changed from stone to smooth crystal. Each surface glowed faintly, and when the humans touched it, vision stirred inside the crystal. Lena gasped. Look, these are not just walls. They are memories. Mira pressed her palm against one of the glowing panels. Images flashed before her eyes, ancient humans standing under the sky of Earth, watching as ships of light descended from the heavens. Tall figures with crowns stepped out, their forms half human and half otherworldly. They taught the people how to build, how to read the stars, how to shape stone into great monuments. The vision shifted, showing pyramids rising in Egypt and Mesopotamia and in distant lands. But it also showed pyramids on other worlds, standing beneath alien suns. Daniel touched the wall on the opposite side. His vision was different. He saw humans and the crowned figures working together to lift giant blocks of stone, their tools glowing as they cut and shaped matter with ease. He saw humans traveling through gates of light, walking on planets beyond Earth. But then he saw the crowned figures leaving, disappearing into the stars, leaving humans behind. The team walked slowly through the hall, each panel showing them fragments of history. The truth was overwhelming. Humanity's ancestors had not risen alone. They had been guided, shaped, and then left with a legacy to carry forward. Lena whispered in awe. These are the trials of memory. The chamber shows us the past so we may remember who we are. Myra's voice was steady, but remembering is not enough. We must prove we deserve this knowledge. The passage ended at another chamber, smaller but filled with brighter crystal light. In the center stood a stone table with 3 glowing orbs placed upon it. Each orb burned with a different color: blue, red, and gold. The translator activated. By itself, it screamed, flashing with symbols performing words. Choose the path of unity. Choose the path of courage. Choose the path of wisdom. Daniel stepped closer, staring at the orbs. It is asking us to decide. But how do we know which one? Myra shook her head. This is not about one choice. It is about all 3. We must show all of them. As soon as she spoke, the orbs rose into the air and spun around the humans. The chamber darkened, and the glowing orbs burst into images that surrounded them. The blue orb showed a vision of humans arguing, fighting, and breaking apart. Then the image shifted to humans holding hands, lifting one another from the sand, building together. The voice spoke. Unity is the strength of your kind. Without it, the heirs cannot rise. The red orb showed a vision of a human standing before a great storm, refusing to turn back, even as danger closed in. The voice spoke again. Courage is the heart of your kind. Without it, the heirs cannot move forward. The gold orb showed a vision of humans sitting in council, listening, learning, sharing ideas. Then the image shifted to humans building knowledge. Through books, machines, and stars, the voice spoke. Wisdom is the guide of your kind. Without it, the heirs cannot endure. The visions ended, and the orbs returned to the table, glowing brighter than before. The translator gave one final message. To open the way, show unity, courage, and wisdom as one. Mira looked at her team. This is the trial. Not just to watch, but to act. They joined hands around the table, each one touching an orb. The blue light of unity flowed first, spreading warmth through their arms. The red light of courage followed, burning strong like fire. The gold light of wisdom came last, shining clear as the sun. Together, the lights merged into one beam that shot upward, striking the ceiling of the chamber. The ground shook, and the sealed door behind them groaned again. Slowly, the stone split apart, opening a new passage into the depths. The statues of the silent pharaohs glowed brighter, their eyes shining with approval. Myra's voice was calm but strong. "The chamber has seen us. We passed the first trial, but I believe harder tests wait ahead." The team gathered their gear once more, their hearts pounding. They had proven themselves worthy of memory, but they knew the journey was far from over. Beyond the new passage, deeper truths waited in the silence of the Pharaohs. The stone door opened with a long rumble, releasing a draft of cold air from the darkness beyond. Mira and her team stepped forward carefully, their lamps raised high. The new passage stretched into shadows, lined with more statues of crowned figures. These were even taller than the first ones, their heads almost touching the ceiling. Each one held strange objects in their hands, some like blades of crystal, others like rods glowing faintly with blue light. The humans walked slowly between them. Every step echoed across the stone walls. Daniel kept his scanner ready, and readings made his hand shake. "The energy here is far stronger," he whispered. "It is like standing in the heart of a storm, only hidden inside the stone." Lena looked up at the statues, her voice trembling. "They are not just stone. I can feel it. They are waiting." Myra remained calm, but her own heart pounded. She could sense it too. The statues gave off more than silence. They gave off presence. Like watchers ready to rise, if called. The passage ended at a wide circular hall. At its center stood a raised platform with markings glowing faintly. Around the platform were rows of statues, larger than any they had seen before, shaped like pharaohs in full robes and crowns. Their faces were stern, and their eyes burned with faint fire. The humans entered the hall. The moment their feet touched the platform, the floor trembled. A low hum filled the air, growing louder each second. The eyes of the statues lit brighter, one after another, until the hall glowed with 100 burning gazes. Daniel took a step back. "They are waking." The statues began to move. Not all at once, but slowly, like ancient machines stretching after a long sleep. Their arms lifted. Their heads turned, and their stone feet shifted on the floor. Dust fell from their bodies, but beneath the dust was not stone. It was shining metal, shaped into forms that mimicked kings of old. "They are machines," Lena gasped. "Ancient guardians." The machines stepped down from their platforms, their movements heavy yet precise. The humans stood frozen, surrounded by towering figures of glowing metal. The guardians raised their tools, not in attack but in silence, scanning the humans with beams of light. Mira raised her hand to signal her team. "Do not run. Do not fight. Stand together." The guardians circled them, beams of light sweeping across their bodies. Daniel's scanner beeped wildly, overwhelmed by the energy. He shut it off, realizing it was useless here. One guardian stepped forward, taller than the rest, with a crown carved from crystal. It lowered its glowing staff, pointing it at Mira. The translator on her belt activated by itself. A deep voice spoke through it. "The heirs stand before us. Will they endure? Will they abandon one another? Or will they remain as one?" The other guardians moved closer, the glow of their eyes burning brighter. The team understood. This was the trial of unity made real. Suddenly, the floor split open in places, revealing deep pits glowing with light. The humans were pushed to the edge by the Guardians' advance. The message was clear. If they panicked, if they broke apart, someone would fall, and the test would be failed. Daniel stumbled as the floor shook, but Myra grabbed his arm and held him steady. Lena reached for both of them, linking hands. "We stay together," she said firmly. The Guardians paused, their glowing eyes scanning the linked humans. The trial was not over. One Guardian moved behind them, lowering its staff toward the smallest member of the team, a young assistant named Arun. The beam from the staff wrapped around him, pulling him slowly toward the edge of a pit. His cry echoed in the hall. Myra lunged forward without hesitation. She caught Arun's arm and pulled with all her strength. Daniel and Lena rushed to help, grabbing them both. The Guardians stood motionless, watching as the humans fought against the beam, refusing to let their companion fall. With a final pull, Arun was freed, and the group collapsed together onto the platform. Their breaths came fast, but they never let go of one another. Mira looked up at the Guardians and shouted, "We will not leave anyone behind. We stand together, always." The words echoed in the hall. The humming grew louder, then faded into calm. One by one, the Guardians lowered their staffs. The beams of light vanished. The pits in the floor sealed shut as if they had never been. The Crown Guardian stepped closer, its eyes glowing brighter than the rest. The translator spoke again. "The heirs have chosen unity. The trial is past." Then, as quickly as they had awakened, the Guardians stepped back to their original places. Their bodies stiffened, their glow dimmed, and they froze again, returning to silence. The hall became still, as though nothing had moved at all. Myra helped her team stand. Each one was shaken, but their eyes burned with new strength. They had faced machines older than their civilization, and they had not failed. Lina whispered, almost in awe. "They wanted to see if we would betray each other. But we didn't. We stood as one." Daniel looked around the hall, still breathing heavily. "These Guardians are more than machines. They are judges, watching the heart of humanity itself." Mira turned to the sealed passage at the far end of the hall. It now glowed with golden light, open and waiting. She pointed toward it. "The Guardians have given us the right to go deeper. The next truth lies ahead." The humans gathered there. Courage once more, and stepped toward the glowing doorway. Behind them, the silent Pharaohs stood still again, their trial complete. But Mira knew this was only the beginning. If unity had been the first test, then courage and wisdom would soon follow. The golden light from the doorway stretched across the floor as Myra and her team stepped forward. The passage widened into a vast chamber unlike any they had seen before. Its walls were smooth crystal, glowing softly with colors that shifted, like liquid fire. The air was warmer here, filled with a gentle hum that resonated in their chests. Every step echoed as if the chamber itself was alive. Aware of their presence, at the center of the hall, on a raised platform of translucent stone, stood a throne unlike any ordinary seat. It was massive, made of crystal that pulsed with light from within. Beams of energy connected the throne to the walls and ceiling, forming a web of glowing threads that spanned the entire chamber. The throne seemed to breathe, and when Mira stepped closer, she felt a pulse, steady and strong, like the heartbeat of the planet itself. Daniel's eyes widened as he scanned the area. "This is incredible," he whispered. "The energy readings. They are off the charts. Whatever is in that throne could power entire cities, maybe worlds." Lena stepped to the front of the platform, examining the glowing threads. "Look at these patterns. They are star maps. Not of this system, but hundreds of stars, planets, and hidden outposts. Whoever built this knew the galaxy intimately." Mira felt her chest tighten with awe. These builders, they left humanity a legacy. The throne is not just a seat. It is a command center, a key to knowledge we never imagined. The team approached carefully, each step drawing them closer to the center of the chamber. As they reached the throne, it reacted. The crystal pulsed faster, and beams of light shot upward, creating a holographic projection above the seat. Stars, planets, and alien symbols floated in the air, forming a map that seemed alive. A deep, calm voice echoed through the chamber. "Children of the Builders, you have come at last. You have passed the trials of unity, courage, and wisdom. The throne recognizes you as heirs of the legacy. Take it and rise among the stars." Mira reached out and placed her hands on the crystal surface. A surge of energy flowed through her, not painful, but powerful. Images filled her mind. Distant worlds, civilizations rising, humans exploring planets, guiding life across the galaxy. She understood at once that this throne held knowledge of the galaxy and the power to command it wisely. Daniel and Lena followed, placing their hands alongside hers. The energy flowed between them, binding them to the throne as if the chamber was accepting all of them together. The star map above shifted, highlighting paths through the galaxy, secret outposts built by their ancestors, and messages left for humans to find when they were ready. Lena's voice trembled with awe. "Our ancestors, they guided humanity across the stars, and now it is our turn. We are meant to continue their work." The throne projected more images. Humans in ancient times, building pyramids with guidance from the star travelers. Humans traveling through gates of light, reaching new worlds, creating cities under alien suns. Humans learning, teaching, exploring, and protecting the knowledge of the builders. Mira realized that all this history had been preserved in the chamber, waiting for the right generation to claim it. A sudden vibration passed through the floor. The throne's light flared brighter, casting long shadows across the chamber. The statues from the previous hall could be seen faintly in the distance, standing silently as if acknowledging the success of the humans. The chamber itself seemed to bow in approval. Myra looked at her team. "We are the heirs. This knowledge, this power, it is not just for us. It is for humanity. We must guide it, protect it, and use it wisely." Daniel nodded, still staring at the holographic star map. "We have proof now. Humanity is not alone. Our past connects to the stars, and the future is ours to shape." Lena's hands hovered above the threads of light connecting the throne to the walls. The chamber left tools, instructions, and guidance. It trusted us to act. "We have the knowledge to reach out to distant civilizations, to rebuild what was left unfinished." The voice echoed again, softer this time. "The legacy is yours. Use it with wisdom. Guide your kind to rise as builders among the stars. Remember the trials. Remember unity, courage, and wisdom." Mira closed her eyes, letting the words sink in. She could feel the weight of responsibility, but also the power of possibility. Humanity had been tested, and it had passed. The chamber had awakened their potential, and now it offered them the chance to become guardians and leaders across the galaxy. The team spent hours exploring the throne, learning its patterns, maps, and energies. Every new detail revealed another piece of knowledge left by the builders. They realized that humanity had been part of a grand design, waiting for this moment to awaken its role in the stars. Finally, Mira stepped back from the throne. She looked at her team, their faces glowing with awe and determination. "The chamber has given us a gift," she said. "It is not only power, it is a responsibility. We leave here as more than explorers. We leave as the rightful heirs of a legacy older than we imagined." The chamber fell silent, the throne still glowing, the threads of light connecting walls, and ceiling alive but calm. Outside, the desert world waited, quiet and empty. Inside, humanity's future had begun to shine, and the chamber of the silent Pharaohs had shared its greatest secret. The chamber was quiet now, filled with a calm glow from the throne of crystal. Mira and her team stood together, their hands still hovering above the threads of light. The trials were complete, and the knowledge of the builders had been passed to them. Yet the weight of responsibility pressed upon each of them. They had been chosen, but the real journey had only just begun. Myra stepped forward and placed her hand on the crystal throne one last time. The star map pulsed gently beneath her fingers. She could see hundreds of points across the galaxy, outposts left by humanity's ancestors and alien allies alike. The chamber's energy seemed to respond to her presence, as if acknowledging her understanding. "The builders trusted us with their legacy," Mira said softly. "Now it is our turn to continue their work. We have the knowledge, the power, and the duty to rise." Daniel scanned the chamber again. "I never imagined humans could have been part of something this vast. The outposts, the messages, the guidance, all of it proves that we are not alone. And now, the galaxy knows we are ready." Lena walked carefully through the room, touching the walls that held visions of the past. "We have seen what came before. We know the sacrifices, the lessons, the courage of those who guided us. It is our turn to create the future. Every step we take now matters." The statues from the previous halls, the silent pharaohs, remained in their eternal watch. Their glowing eyes, dim but steady, seemed to acknowledge the human's achievement. The Guardians had been waiting for this moment for millennia, and now their mission was complete. They would remain silent and vigilant as humanity rose to claim its place among the stars. The chamber's energy pulsed again, sending waves of light through the hall. Beams of energy shot upward, piercing the ceiling and flowing outward into the desert sky. Mira felt the vibration in her chest and realized that the signal was being sent far beyond this world. Somewhere across the galaxy, civilizations would receive the message. Humanity had awakened. Humanity was claiming its legacy. Daniel looked out toward the doorway. The desert stretched endlessly, golden under the twin suns of the planet. "The world outside will never look the same to us again," he said. "We have seen the truth of our past. Now we must carry it forward." Myra nodded. "We cannot return to Earth the same. Humanity has been given the keys to the galaxy, and it is up to us to use them wisely. The builders left this gift for us, but it is our choices that will shape the future." Lena smiled faintly, her eyes reflecting the glow of the throne. "We are the heirs, yes, but heirs are also teachers. We must share this knowledge, guide others, and ensure that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. Unity, courage, and wisdom. These are the principles we carry." The team gathered their equipment one final time, preparing to leave the chamber. They knew that the real adventure was outside the stone walls in the vastness of the galaxy. Yet the memory of this place, the lessons of the builders, and the silent watch of the pharaohs would stay with them forever. As they stepped through the passage back to the surface, the desert world seemed to shine differently. The dunes glimmered, as though touched by light from another world. The sky, pale yellow and wide, felt alive with possibility. Mira looked up, imagining the countless stars waiting to be reached. Each point of light a path forward, a challenge, and a promise. Outside, the humans paused. The ship waited quietly, ready to carry them to new worlds. Mira turned to her team. "This is not the end," she said. "It is only the beginning. Humanity has been shown its place among the stars. Now we rise, not as wanderers, but as guardians of the Builder's legacy." Daniel tightened his grip on his tools. "We will be ready. Every outpost, every star, every message. It is ours to explore and protect. We have the chance to shape the galaxy," Lena added, "and we will remember. Unity, courage, and wisdom will guide us. We cannot fail. Humanity must rise." The team boarded their ship, hearts filled with determination. As they lifted off the desert planet, the beams of light from the throne stretched into the sky, visible even from orbit. The chamber had fulfilled its purpose. Its guardians returned to silence, its secrets now entrusted to the hands of humans. Myra watched the planet fall away beneath them, the endless dunes fading into memory. "We are not just explorers," she whispered. "We are heirs. We are builders. And we will honor this legacy." As the ship entered orbit and began its journey toward distant stars, the humans carried with them the knowledge of their past, the power of the builders, and the unshakable truth that humanity had been chosen to rise among the stars. The desert world of silent pharaohs faded from view, but its legacy would travel with them forever. Humanity had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same.